Oh, yeah, it's two men, one box, plenty of room for all you to jump right in. Let's go inside the box here Friday, August 15th of the 25s on the BCX. You just heard the best intro in all of podcasting, and Rafe was like, yo, fuck your intro.
Well, we were running late. I didn't want to hold up our audience just for this stupid ass intro.
Okay. All right. I mean, it is pretty stupid. I'll give you that. Hey, BC Brian Campbell coming at you, B-Hop style. Meet me in the men's room. Also, Rafa Bartolome of New York Times bestselling author fame. High and tight. I appreciate that, but the stash still large and in charge.
It's a little, I mean, I just got it this morning, did it for you, Brian, but you know, immediately after a haircut, it's almost too much for me. It's like it's two Super Troopers, two fireman. Like it's so on the nose. I feel like I need to be wearing aviators right now. Yeah.
Well, not only am I the son of a fireman, we are firemen. Okay, we live in.
I run into the fire.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to all the.
Can't wait to hear Teddy on TKO Boxing on Paramount Plus.
Maybe
whatever,
we'll see. I hope.
Whatever it's called.
Paramount seems close to getting it. I'm basically a TKO employee at this point, but you might as well embrace it. Hey, how about nothing like digging into a freshly baked box. I mean, that is what can put a man on a bus to choke Rosemary Hall in the 90s. All right, you know that.
I didn't even know what it was. I just got on the bus.
Yep.
And then I got in the box. And then I got back on the bus.
They say in Rafe look a little NYPD, you know, like
I agree. That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying. It's too tight, it's too high, but still, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do.
Shout out to former U.S. President Zachary Taylor right there. Great fellas. Great. Chinchilla, you know it. It does have that Warren Haynes type feel. It's got a little Allman Brothers feel. I told that gentleman, Anthony, I said, yo, give me the intersection between Blue Sky by the Almonds and Franklin's Tower by the Dead. I mean, I know you don't live at that intersection, right? I know that.
It's a long way to the lip, from the lip to the cup, Brian. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay, all right. I know, yeah. We're good friends. I love. How was your daddy's, shout out to Big G-Bod, Jeffrey Bartholomew. How was his 80th birthday bash at the world famous McSorley's bar?
Shit was a whole month ago, man. It was great. A lot of old timers came out.
I just remember it.
A lot of old timers came out, said hello. You know, it was family. We had most of the, you know, a lot of people I grew up with in the back room. It was fun. I was there with my wife, and I was talking to one of the former owner, Matthew Marr, who passed away in 2020, and who was, you know, throughout my childhood and most of my life, he's the boss I worked for, the boss my dad worked for, the owner of McSorley's. And one of his daughters, he has 4 daughters, one of whom is now running the bar, Teresa, and another one of his daughters I was talking to at the bar there. And my wife came over and was like, so were you like the oldest of these little bar kids who are now running around here as adults? And I was like, no, you're talking to a generation, 10 years above me right here next to me. So that's how it is. It's cool to, especially in a city like New York, where when I go home, I walk around now, I look around, I'm like, what the fuck is all this? Like, where did this shit come from? Who are these people? None of these people are New Yorkers. Like, this all makes me feel a little bit weird. Still happy to be home. But then I can go inside the bar and see every time I go in, see someone who has known me and sort of who I've looked up to as a adult figure, even if they weren't necessarily role models. They weren't necessarily teaching me how to, teaching me to look the other way when somebody gets murdered. It was I can go see someone who's known me my entire life, and that's rare any place, let alone New York City.
We have the exact conversation, in fact, on video between you and the bar.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
Alleged, they say, Brian.
Allegedly. Is it true that your dad's nickname Big G stands for gentrification of your old neighborhood?
Look, I guess you could say he was a very early gentrifier to New York. He started gentrifying it in the late 1960s when I think the city probably was. I mean, when people were moving to the city, because they were hippies, because they were trying to he was trying to escape Ohio. His family had moved to Steubenville on the border with West Virginia. He didn't want no parts of that. So, it was time to move on.
There it is. There it is. Look, already De La Cruz is like, get out of the way, BC. We got to talk Andre Ward. Let Red cook. We will. We'll
what
get
do we
there.
mean? What are we talking about here?
We will get there. We will get there, folks. Also, yeah, you're right. You want to talk Grateful Dead music and hear BC talk in circles. That would have been the Campbell ramble here.
I am here for Brandon to get for Brandon Campbell, Brian Campbell, to get off his third base takes, his early LL Cool J takes, all of that. That's what we're here to talk about.
Third base, just not just a base for sliding. And
his YBT. I know he knows how to tap the bottle. Like Brian knows it all.
Yeah. Rafe De La Cruz wanted to know if you've been to Coogan's in Washington Heights. I assume that's where he found Boogar to the Sugar. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Come on now. Actually, no, I mean, like I've been up to Inwood a couple times for the old Irish neighborhood up there, as well as Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, where, also another Irish enclave, Maspeth, Queens, is where, I mean, a lot of the if you weren't living above McSorley's and you worked there, you probably lived out in Sunnyside or Maspeth.
Okay.
And
also, our minority group of Logan Dobson super fans continue to unite. In fact, we have one fan who says, "Bring back Logan." It turns out that fan is Logan Dobson. So shout out to our favorite DC lobbyist, who I have to assume is on the front lines with Trump's National Guard, trying aggressively to clean up the crime stats in DC. Check Luke Thomas's political podcast for
more. We gotta put it on our backs here. We gotta hook our boy up, keep getting him on here, and get him hired by TKO. Get him, or at least not necessarily as a direct employee, because as we know, maybe the employees get paid okay. The contractors don't do so well. But anyway, we gotta hook him up with some of this bread that they're getting now.
Well,
because he's out here, he's making the arguments.
I think we can get him on the TKO legal staff moving forward. Also, old man Sandine here wants to get Rafe into these numbered skinhead events in the plus era. Your hair is getting closer. You're getting closer. Okay. MMA's just a bunch of, you know it. Oh, that was gross.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm always I pop every time a random Mirko Krokop highlight comes across Twitter. That's all I got to say. I mean, seeing that guy kick people in the head never gets old.
And then he got sent to hell via head kick by Gabriel Gonzalez, and one of the greatest things ever. How hard did he hit him, you might ask?
And I hit him hard, really hard.
Yeah,
Brian, are you flexible? Were you ever in your life able to kick a foot above your own head? Like, that's great.
I need 5 minutes
6'7" Croatian dude like that. That's great.
Yeah. I need upwards of 5 minutes at age 47 to get out of bed now because of my extreme time sitting in this recliner that's slowly killing my back. I need to just throw the recliner out, really. But, I work there, I play there, and I'm old now. Are you old? I mean, you're still playing full court at Oakland College, right?
No, I'm not playing in competitive games there. I am perilously close to an Achilles rupture.
Oh, no, don't say that out loud.
Because I was playing in a league and I ruptured the plantar fascia in the same leg. I've also torn the calf in that leg in a basketball game, all since COVID. And so that basically means the only intact piece of that chain is my Achilles, or not. I mean, obviously those things have healed, but they're not as strong as they once have been. I don't have access to even fucking good healthcare, let alone what a real athlete can get to rehab a messed up leg. So I take it real easy. I'm out there. It's called, I told you, it's called Operation Steve Novak, man. I'm just out there just trying to become really, really confident in that long range jump shot, because
you play forever.
I grew up in a time when, you didn't get, like, you picked the whitest guy on your team. Thankfully, that wasn't me. I was the second whitest because I was tall. So you took the smallest, whitest guy on your team, and you told him to run around on the 3-point line and shoot, because that's what you were supposed to do, white guy. And that was not, even though now that's the most important role in basketball, but the most important shot in basketball.
That's not the basketball I like to play. I like to play physical pick and roll, old school style. Gabriel Gonzaga, as the fans are roasting me. Not, did I say Gonzalez? I didn't know I said it. I'm starting to do that now, where my mouth will say things that my brain didn't tell it to. It's not quite like, shout out to people who have Tourette's. I feel bad, but they're yelling like slurs out accidentally. It's not quite that, but it's
Tourette's is the best though.
Yeah, well, I don't know about the best, but also Kramer saying fantastic. Oh, fantastic hat, BC. Yeah, morningcombat.shop. If only you didn't have a massive dome in my fit. I mean, that's the history of my life. When you got a big head, you know what I mean? You gotta, I'm black from the neck up, right? Yeah, all right. Okay, that's just weird. I mean, that's just not acceptable. Very good question coming in. First of all, Lazy Bed, thank you. I think we're talking Dunleavy Senior or Junior here, but a mild resemblance to
I used to play with one of his high school rivals, I think, was a college teammate of mine. Obviously not one of the guys who went to Division I basketball, but one of the guys who was like a good 6'4" forward in Milwaukee when he was in high school. But he was nice. He's one of the better players in our class.
Oh, nice. A couple quick basketball.
Peter Custer. Yo, look him up. He was nice back
Peter Custer, Brian Custer's little brother. Good stuff. Old man Dave, you don't know me. $50 says Prime BC could dunk one of those mini NCAA balls. No, Prime BC could touch the bottom of the rim with his finger. So I officially have flat feet. Like I had to have arch supports. I never did any leg work in the gym until I was like 45. So that's a problem too. And I'm white. So I'm not dunking anything but donuts. Although I was pretty nice on like an AFA hoop. You know what I mean? I was pretty nice.
Rafe, where are we all?
Rafe, you're like you're taller than me. You're like a 6'3.5" stretch 4, according to Simo. You've come on here and mentioned that you scored 19 points per game in New York City basketball, high school.
ESAL Manhattan B, man. It was good, but it was fine. It's
not Archbishop Malloy. I get it. Okay.
This ain't the same.
But you dropped 38 in a high school game. Okay. Not against Country Farm kids. So have you ever in your prime years put the ball above the rim, yo?
Yes, I have, but not well or many times. And the bigger problem was, or the real issue was, one, I never had great hops. I could basically grab rim. I needed someone to throw it up for me because my hands are too small. So I had to catch it, and I'm not catching alley-oops in the game. So I would this was like, we would have to plan every step of this along the way after practice and get it right at the perfect spot and have me time everything exactly right. And 2 or 3 times in my life, it all came together. So I can say yes, never in any meaningful situation. And moral, my father could jump. He told me his whole high school team in Euclid, Ohio, I've seen his yearbook, fucking Lily White all the way. You get that now, but it was then. All of them could dunk. Their entire starting come out and
country strength though, right? Was your dad working on a farm or a factory at age 10? Probably, right?
He was running from his dad.
He was
he just had hops. He was hops. He had hops. I didn't for some reason.
Okay.
Blame my Slovak side on my mom.
Yeah, definitely your Slovak side. I will say, if there was a basketball prime for me, it certainly was when I was 25. I had kicked the recreational drug habit. I got in the best shape of my life. And what I actually started doing was I didn't work my legs in the gym like I should have.
Doing some plyo?
I was doing calf raises every morning on the stairs because I took Saturday afternoon basketball with my friends way, way, way too serious. And I have to say, if that was the prime of me, fitness, everything, I still couldn't dunk. But I could get more than just touching the ball. I could touch it. I couldn't grab it, but I could slap the rim like it was my biatch.
You were tapping board regular. You are clapping.
But it showed
nonstop.
me. But what it did show me was if you actually do work your legs somewhat consistently, your hops. So I didn't get dunking hops, but when you're driving to the hoop, and you know your competition, and you know that, okay, I could get the layup over them, but I got to be quick. Suddenly I could jump above their hand and put the lay in without getting blocked. So that's where I was like, yo, if I just was smart enough to be doing plyometrics my whole life, maybe I could have been something. You know what
You're 45, man.
No, I'm 47. I'm even older.
47. Okay? Plyometrics didn't exist when you were a kid, man.
No, they did. Was. I got at the end of those magazines. They
jump soles
with the jump. Yeah.
Shoes.
I mean, don't forget, dude. I had 2 subscriptions to East Bay. That's how much I was into it. Okay?
I back in my editor days. I wanted so badly to do a grand oral history of the East Bay catalog because that thing was the Bible for our generation, man. I've seen. I cannot tell you how many fights, literal fights, I've seen between friends. People, we all grew up together. People just fighting over give me that shit, and they just punch each other for it.
You could kill. People were getting killed for their shoes. You could get killed for the East Bay catalog. Do you believe Cosmo Kramer, longtime listener, is 6'7"?
Why not, man? There are tall people out there. Like I've seen plenty of them.
Also, Lazy Bed from Middle America shouting out Euclid, saying that is as suburb comes, which means your dad's a honky. All right. BC had Jimmy legs. Also, we do have an interesting basketball question here. Let's get to it. If I can figure out how to work this computer.
Good to know.
I need to actually learn how to do things. I just aggressively.
By the way, you have a hard out. We need to get to inside this box.
I know we do, but this is my favorite part of
find your thing.
Talking Shia is my favorite part of this. First of all, we'll shout out Nando for his support of this show, brother. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Long-time reader, listener, has been really loves to mix it up with us. Basically pushed me to the brink multiple times over Triple G and Canelo.
That's what I'm talking about.
And
I love that we're 10 years with some of these guys. We've been doing doping since the beginning. Here's the question from Jay Fish. They need to see you and I go one-on-one. Things have changed. You're no longer averaging 19 a game. I'm a 6'1.5", 47-year-old man. What are you, 6'3.5"?
I mean, I'm 6'3" flat, bare feet. So basketball wise, I can claim 6'5" probably, but I'm 6'3".
I was active playing every year up until a year ago. You play a lot more than me. You're better than me. What does one-on-one up to 21, knowing ahead of time I'm going to sweat all over you, I'm going to play dirty, and you might fight me during the game?
Yeah, so 21 is a ridiculous number for 2 men in their 40s to play a game of one-on-one to. All right. Do you know the level of gasness insane gasness you will be seeing from 2 men in their 40s trying to play one-on-one basketball against each other? It will get so ugly. I honestly, if it's that high of a score, I might depend. I don't know exactly how. I suspect you're not terrible. So I think you would win because halfway through, I'm just I don't give a shit, man. Go ahead, because you're going to be. I don't want to get hurt. I don't care enough to win a game against you.
That's right. And it will be life and death for me. Yeah.
All right. I have a little bit of that 90s New York head case in me, a little bit of that Lamar Odom, and not in terms of talent, but in terms of mentality, where it's if I make 5 buckets here that are the nicest 5 buckets in the game, clearly prove that I am the more talented player, you could have the win. I don't care. Okay. I was nicer than you.
All right. Well, you are nicer than me, and
not nice, because I'm not nicer than you. Nicer, man, he nice with it. Nice.
Yeah, I speak street. Okay, all right. You know what I mean? I grew up in a tough weathered suburb.
That's true. Nice was a 90s thing. Yeah,
I don't mean you were polite. Okay,
you hear Jimmy.
But so I got a post game. I got a Kevin McHale inspired post game. But you get outside of 8 feet.
If we play by the way that actual basketball players play one-on-one, I'll get you because that is you get 1 dribble, no backing down.
No, this ain't Watts. No, come on. You ever play taps against somebody from the street and they're like, "Oh, it's all 3-pointers." Everybody's got weird ass rules. No, play regular games. All right.
Play some Utah. Play some 21.
Yo, where I used to play pickup in high school, somebody got shot once and I wasn't allowed to play there for a year. All right, that's what I'm talking about. All right, the bullet didn't hit him; it missed, but still, that was a big deal in our town. All right, enough of outside of 6'7" Cosmo trying to get up in your piston ass here. They want us to get up in the box. Do you have anything to say about the Auburn Hills Pistons that you adore?
Well, I wish they were in Auburn Hills because I might be going to more games if they were still there.
Yeah.
But I still am looking forward to some games this year. They do look good. I am looking forward to this year. And I'm looking forward to some of my old media friends maybe coming through to Detroit to visit me, or not to visit me, but when they NBA reporters like to come to Detroit, not because they love Detroit, they probably don't, but because it's a good place to do reporting on another team. It's because there's not a lot of media here. So they can come in. Are you talking
about Dave McManaman coming?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm cool with Dave. We worked out of the LA office together back in the day.
I like Kendra's sister. Okay.
Forgot about that. But yes, that is end of days, man. It's true stuff. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, man. I don't know how that happened. But good for him. But no. I mean, Kevin Artemis doesn't work at ESPN anymore, but that's my boy. Maybe a Zach Lowe might come through. I'd say hello. They try and do people.
Hit me up on the low.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see if Rafe gets a roll on Super Troopers 3.
I already said it myself. I was at a wedding with the little guy from Super Troopers who always wear the short shorts, had the big mustache, kind of like me now.
Okay.
It was fun.
All right. They want us to talk
who his girlfriend was?
Who?
He went there with an actress who was in Balls of Fury, the ping pong movie with Christopher Walken.
I have not seen that movie, but I still have to see the other movie that you told me. What was that movie?
Oh, Den of Thieves. Yeah, you should put that ahead of Balls of Fury.
Let me do this first.
Come on, let me put some water on your balls.
All right, put some water on your balls. It's box time. First question here. We really only have like 3 topics. Let's get into it right here. Monzo, BC, Brian, you got some blowback. Dude, I got so much blowback. I had to delete the tweet, and I never do for praising Fundora versus Thurman on Twitter. Look, let's talk about it.
Hold up. Why? What was the nature of the blowback? I'm sorry, I don't creep on your Twitter that hard.
The boxing scene report from Lance Pugmire and company that it appears to be PBC planning potentially an October 25th Vegas pay-per-view with a main event of Sebastian Fundora against Keith Thurman. Now, tied with that is the fact that there's rumors that Thurman turned down a fight with Virgil Ortiz. With that is the fact that I get it. People would prefer, and maybe I would too, that Fundora was fighting another champion like Zayas or Virgil Ortiz or Boots Ennis or all that. I mean, Boots has his own matchmaking issues at the moment that it seems. Was my excitement to quote tweet that and say, let's, LFG, Fundora's having him a hell of a year. It's threefold here. One, I'm going to get a chance to call that fight most likely. So hell yeah. 2, Fundora has had a great year, coming off of a great year the year before where, yes, he only fought once, but he's, got that win over Tim Tszyu. He comes out this year, defends the title against Cordell Booker. Okay, it was a comeback, stay busy fight, knocked him the hell out, made Tim Tszyu quit. If he hands Keith Thurman, who I think at 36 has more than people are giving him credit for, if he goes in there and stops that dude who's only lost to Manny Pacquiao by split decision, that is a pretty damn good year. Also, I kind of like the fight. I also realize the promotional realities and where we're at right now. All things considered, if that happens October 25th, and if I'm on the call, the broadcast inside of me loves it. The fan of me certainly don't hate it. Where do you sit on Sebastian Fundora against a 36-year-old Keith Thurman?
It seems like a perfectly fine event. I'm curious to see how much Keith Thurman still actually has left in the tank. He looked all right against Marky Mark, the underwear model he fought out in Australia.
Jarvis, yes.
Yeah. That's like he looked like he had some ring rust in the first round. Looked like when Brock was trying to step to him and bring a lot of pressure. It took him a minute to get his composure and get ready, and then he took him apart. Right as soon as he started, he found the distance and could counter him. Brock was out of the fight and it was over in 2 rounds. It was for someone who I hadn't seen in the ring. Was that his first fight since Manny?
No, he beat Manny Mario Barrios on pay-per-view.
Okay. Right. So that
And
came
it was the
after
first
that.
fight for Barrios after Tank stopped him.
Okay. So
And Thurman
anyway,
looked great, by the way.
I thought he looked all right, and he looked good. He looked very good against Barrios, and then he looked, he for someone coming off a long layoff, he looked about as good as you would expect against a very overmatched opponent in Australia. So I am curious to see what Keith Thurman has left. He showed enough, I think, especially he's not that old. He hasn't been in too many. What are the really hard fights he's been in? Manny, which he lost. And Sean Porter, I guess, did he fight Danny Garcia also?
Yeah. So he beat Sean Porter and Danny Garcia on Big CBS. And while he gets obvious full credit for the Porter fight and it was a slugfest, some people believe that the last 3 rounds against Danny Garcia, where he was circling away a lot and hung on for a split decision, that maybe Danny Garcia's power not only humbled him, but changed the way he would fight moving forward.
I don't know. I mean, he's good. He fought like I didn't really see that. He still has been fairly aggressive in the fights that he has. Injuries, trying to avoid Errol Spence, or just injuries and falling in love, getting married, putting some Mustang grease in his hair, doing whatever, playing his flutes. He is a man of many interests. I wish he had been in the ring. I wish he had been more active throughout his career. That's something we say about most modern boxers at the elite level. But he doesn't look washed, right? He looks like he's still okay. 154 is he's not really proven anything at that weight class. He wasn't that big as a welterweight, or a welterweight, as he likes to say. So I have questions. He shouldn't be the favorite against a prime champion who's already starting to prove a lot in the division, like Fundora. But I think you could make a very strong argument that Keith Thurman is the most talented opponent that Fundora will have faced. And if he still has, 75% of real Keith Thurman in the tank or more, then that makes, he could cause some problems, and he's going to be quicker. He's going to be able to land on that guy. I don't think it's a bad fight. I'm surprised.
I think style wise, it's contrasting perfectly.
Take that down. That was completely anodyne. I don't get it, man.
I mean, a lot of people are saying what Nader is saying, and I get it. Keith is more washed. His hairline's washed. I mean, let's be honest. That's nature taking over. But I don't see. Look, does he have the same legs he had in his welterweight prime? No. Would he, in this fight, have to lean on his chin and power in ways that would be exciting, that we would want him to? And could he get stopped in this fight? Yes and yes, but that doesn't mean it's not a bad fight. It's not the test Fundora needs. Look, if Fundora looks like he did in the first 3.5 rounds against Zoo in the rematch, where he's working from distance and sitting down on some big ass long left hands, there could be an issue for Thurman. But Thurman also has veteran tricks. Thurman knows how to box. Thurman, I think, has, gotten through the storm of those injuries and those delays. And I know Thurman also can be hurt by like random body shots, and suddenly he's on borderline Q Street, and Josecito nearly came in and broke his jaw too. I mean, like a couple times, he's had some hairy moments. But like I almost say, in fact, I do say it, his performance against Pacquiao was one of the best performances of his career. Yeah, he got upset by a 40-year-old legend, and the fight was close as shit too. I just want to remind people of that. I don't know. I mean, am I a PBC guy? Yeah, I'm a PBC guy. I'm also like, okay. I mean, PBC needs these type of fights to keep the trains moving right now. A lot of these other guys aren't in their organization, but we'll see. We'll see, man. I hope they load up that card. They've done a pretty good job at giving us.
What are the better fights that are realistic right now for Fundora? Like at the second half of this year, in the next 4 months?
Okay, Xander Zayas, because Top Rank doesn't have a TV deal, but he just won his title, right?
All right, look, Keith Thurman should fight him and take his belt, because I think he's a deserving favorite over that guy.
I wondered if it could have been Jermell Charlo right now. I wonder,
is that better? I mean, that's debate. That's not a clear cut better fight. I think Jermell is not like, really peaking at the moment. We haven't seen him since he lost to Canelo. Was that 2 years ago? 2.5, 3? So anyway, I mean, I wouldn't mind that fight either, but it's not like that does not make me feel offended that Keith Thurman is getting it and not Jermell Charlo.
I mean, Bakram Murtazaliev to unify would be interesting as well. Natter back, and we respect his opinion. Fundora should be fighting the top guys. He was unified champ, true. The division is so stacked, that's why people are upset. Not against that, but we do see it does look like Murtazaliev and Erickson Lubin are lined up for a fight, although no one has claimed that fight. I think it's got to go to, right? I didn't realize that Lubin wasn't with PBC anymore, that he's pro box full time. So, I don't know. I mean, Boots is doing, Boots is fighting again, a guy we never heard of, and he wants 2 tune-ups at 54. That's more of a Boots
Have
issue.
A fight with a Portugal guy, Portuguese man of war.
And I also get Thurman. Look, I don't know if him turning down, if it's true that he turned down Virgil Ortiz, and if that is more like, well, let me fight the other PBC guy under there. But the other PBC guy has a title in Fundora and might be the best in the division at this moment until Virgil and Boots fight for the title. So, I get it, people. I'll get it. We can have different opinions here, but that's why they're upset. All right.
It's not the best possible fight for Fundora. But
what about
I think
this one?
It's okay. Jesus Ramos. I think it would have been interesting.
Yep.
Look, it's probably a better fight in just from a boxing purist perspective at this. It's more and also because we want to see what Jesus Ramos is really capable. We want him to
That's
get
not
that
pay-per-view though, bro. That's
exactly.
Not
it is in terms of a commercial, like a big main event. It's a tough sell. I understand why they're throwing a name in there.
Do I think Fundora-Thurman alone is a massive sell? No, but I'm hoping that they are going to load up that undercard. I know we had been waiting on Stephen Fulton Jr. moving up again and taking on Oshaki. Could that be on there? I mean, you're going to need more than that, of course, but let's see what they do. All right, let's get into it. Before we get into this Saturday and Moses Itauma, Dillian Whyte, even though it's not a pay-per-view itself, it's going to be one in the States. Take that out of it. For all you Fire Stick fans, that fight rules. We're going to get to it. But I got to get your take. A lot of accents I put into one sentence there. Over 41-year-old Andre Ward of the chief content officer of All the Smoke Fight, by the way. I'm in that family with Morning Combat, so shout out there. The Hall of Famer, the unbeaten Andre Ward, who for years had said, and he told me when I interviewed him on Morning Combat ahead of his documentary release on Showtime back in 23, that at any point in his retirement, if Canelo would have said his name, he would have come back. And we also know, Rafe, that Andre has revealed in recent years that there was a time after the Kovalev 2 fights that him and Virgil Hunter were considering a fight against Anthony Joshua, at the time a heavyweight champion, that would have been a Roy Jones, John Ruiz type thing. Mm-hmm. But now Ward is saying, if there's a fight I would come back for, that would get me in the gym training scared, basically, because he knows he'd have to give everything he's got, despite being, when was the last time that guy fought? 7 years ago? I mean, it's been a while.
Kovalev 2, right? I mean,
right. So that's like 2017, if my memory serves me right, 2018 at the latest. The fact that there's no title at stake here, I think, shows you this might be more about love of the game, putting that final stamp on his resume potentially, and maybe even trying to elevate that resume. But he called out AJ. They went back and forth, like Anthony Joshua saying, you're only doing this for a payday. Then suddenly AJ says, look, James Prince, send me a thing and I'll accept it. What are your thoughts on whether Andre Ward is crazy and whether this is something I should be as excited about as I am? I'm a bit of an Andre Ward stan and a protector, but I love this fight. I love the balls this man is showing. They don't care what I think. They care about Rafe cooking. You got the ingredients, brother. What do you got for me?
Listen, I don't want, I feel like I got pressure on me now. I don't want to let the people down because honestly, I came in here not as hot as I usually get over most bullshit about this particular, lump of turd. However, let's talk about it. So if Andre Ward wanted so badly to fight Anthony Joshua, why the fuck didn't he do it in 2017 or 2018 when HBO was willing was eager, wanted to make that. There's reporting out. This isn't. Yes, I this was back when I cared and covered about boxing, and you heard it too. We heard it from people who worked in the business that were trying to make those fights. That was a fight that HBO was ready to pay for, that they really considered making, that Andre Ward was on the fence about taking, and it was a
3-fight deal. They offered him a 3-fight deal that would have ended with Joshua, and it was insane money.
And he instead decided to retire. So if he wanted that incredible achievement, which I think at the time, even though it would have been a much crazier thing to do because Anthony Joshua was undefeated, was a heavyweight champion, looked like had a great argument for being at least one of the 2 best heavyweights. And it was during the period when Tyson Fury, poor man, was out there, drinking pints and gaining 800 pounds, dancing around to Gloria Gaynor music on Twitter. This was a time when it was just Wilder and AJ. And at that point in time, even though I am not the Andre Ward stan that you are, Brian, I think even I would have picked Andre Ward in that fight, thinking along the same lines as when Usyk eventually went up and proved it. Now, Usyk is bigger. Usyk probably, it would have been less of an achievement, at least in terms of the jump in size for what Usyk had to do than what Ward might have done at the time. But even so, I think Ward, because of his will to win, his brain in the ring, all of the things that he brings to a fight, I think I would have talked myself into that. Him somehow figuring out a way to beat AJ, who had shown some of the weaknesses that have played out over the course of his career. But that was the time to do it. Why are we talking about this now? I guess because AJ is doing circus fights with Jake Paul, so why not just keep the ball rolling and do circus fights with Andre Ward, who hasn't fought in close to a decade? The whole thing doesn't make sense. I have no interest. I don't care about seeing Andre Ward fight again. If it happens,
not for this, brother.
Look, if there is a weird circus event like this, I'll watch it. I'm curious enough, but it's no longer important like it would have been then. And that's when I thought he would win. Now I don't think he wins because he hasn't fought in 7-8 years. And he's going to fight this guy who's been active, who still is not. Look, AJ is not bad. All right. He has obvious weaknesses.
Yes.
All right. His chin is not good. He doesn't do well under pressure. Pure guys who can outbox him give him trouble. Speed gives him a little bit of trouble, but there are not too many heavyweights who are quicker than him. He happens, unfortunately, to have fought one of them twice. But Andre Ward ain't that guy anymore. How old is he?
So he's 41. He did retire in September of 2017 after the second Kovalev fight at the age of 33, and he was number 1 pound for pound at that time. So this is 8 years later. Joshua obviously is at the tail end of his run, but I don't think Joshua is as washed as others do, despite that Dubois knockout, because I thought he showed character in that fight. And I think the 2 previous fights before that came after that 4-day darkness isolation treat that you and I would have had a lot of fun with if we were podcasting during that time, actually did heal some of the wrong strategic decisions against Usyk. I think AJ came out going, I got to lean on what I have. And I think he tried against Dubois. He met the wrong guy at the wrong time. What I was saying, though, is that the fact that there's not a title at stake almost makes me like it more, because to me, it's more about Andre feeling like he's got a little bit left in the basement. Now, let's be honest. It's during a time when Turkey's giving out massive paydays, that Netflix is getting involved. So I'm not going to act like Andre is doing this only for the virtue of it, nor should he have to defend that. It's a prize fighting, but he did retire at the time and turn down that HBO deal because he felt, and I read his book, watched his documentary, that he felt spiritually like that was enough. Like that was enough. He had accomplished what he had accomplished, and that was enough.
Let me instead tell you what he was really thinking, not what his narrative says he was thinking. All right. Unfortunately, his career ended at a time in the late, when he was fighting on HBO boxing, hanging out with Jim Lampley too much, listening to way too much concern trolling from Lamps and whoever else was working over there, talking about, CTE and fighters, the fight. he convinced himself that as a boxer, the best way to improve his legacy as a boxer would be to retire on top before and be like, I beat the game, just like Floyd did, right? Because Floyd had just done it, and he was sort of chasing Floyd as the next pound for pound best fighter in the sport. And instead of sticking around once he beat Kovalev twice, even though he didn't win the first one on my scorecard, after he beat Kovalev and established himself as the best fighter in the sport, instead of sticking around and proving it for a minute, he decided I'm gonna retire on top. And he got a lot of nice press for it at the time. He got to write a book about it. He got to have a puff piece movie that he produced on his own probably come out about it, and all that great stuff. Congratulations. But you know what boxing fans actually respect more than all that, than the narrative that, Jim Lampley tried to sell for you, but nobody actually listens to his old ass? Whoa. Fighting in the ring. And you decided to stop doing that during like what would have been the late years of your prime. Now you want to come back at 41. You're young enough to still do it. It will be interesting, but come on, man. This is stupid.
Damn, you're cooking. But I'd have to counter that by saying the same reluctance you have, to me, is the reason why I love the fight, because on paper, like, this is dangerous as shit. This really is, dude. But if he did it, I really feel like it would get played up as a monster accomplishment, even if a title isn't at stake. And the fact that a title isn't leads me to believe he's probably doing it more for the right reasons. What could be those right reasons? Maybe just the competitor within him. Maybe just
no. Because the title is not. You think you're giving him more credit for choosing for essentially what we would call, for a lot of other fighters, cherry picking, right? I mean, now AJ ain't no cherry, all right? He's not.
This ain't John Ruiz either, right? By the way. This ain't John Ruiz.
But this is a fight Ward always saw what he could exploit in AJ. And he probably still sees it. It's only been magnified since that moment. And so if we really, I mean, look, if this is about ambition and feeling the juices again, shit, man, go fight Usyk. Go fight.
Okay,
Itauma.
I mean, that's asking a lot.
Fight Benavidez. Fight someone in one. There's good fighters in his
fight Canelo at 75
in his old weight classes.
Canelo don't want that smoke. Canelo don't want that.
Right now, you don't think Canelo don't want that?
Well, maybe this is a play by AJ. If the fight doesn't happen, then maybe the fact that he's willing to come back in, Canelo finally goes, all right, I'll fight you. Because I personally believe Ward would have beaten him at any point, maybe up until like 4 years ago. Is that fair?
I when I was working at The Athletic in 2019, early 2020, I wrote this column when it was after one of Canelo's big wins, and everybody's calling him the king and the greatest ever. And I was like, all right, I was like, Andre Ward, please come out of retirement and end this bullshit for me right now. And he didn't listen back then. So if you didn't answer the call when I needed you, Andre, I'm out. All right. I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, look, obviously the fact that Andre could find this out is what gets me out of bed for this.
Hey, that black guy, he hits hard.
I mean, it is like, dude, he could be sent to hell. Are you saying if he went in there, whether it was a Netflix super event or not, if he went in there, and he said it has to be in Wembley Stadium, so maybe some of that is him now in the interview game, interviewing all these current and old fighters, seeing the how big boxing has got right now. Ward never got one of those, like, he did a two pay-per-views in Kovalev in Las Vegas, but they didn't sell. That was more of hardcore fights. He never got the really big pay-per-view fight with the juices flowing. Maybe him wanting this has more to do with Wembley Stadium and the fanfare and just getting back into it before he can't get back into it. But are you telling me if he went in there and fought Anthony Joshua, even this aftermarket version, and won, you wouldn't be adding on to how we will remember him in a positive way?
Sure. It is additive to his legacy. It is a win at a way out of his out of his natural size, against a far bigger man who, I agree, is not nearly as washed as his worst performances suggest. Like, hey, look, AJ fighting Dubois, 50 times, it's going to be the same fight every time. It's 50-50. Whichever one of those guys gets hurt first, the wheels are going to fall off, and that guy's going to fall all over the ring, maybe quit, maybe get knocked out cold. It's going to be, and like they'll probably go 25 and 25 between the two of them. They're just that they're almost, I mean, they don't fight exactly the same way, but they're sort of like carbon copies or slight differences of a theme when they fight each other. In any case, he's not done. And I guess, I like, it's a good fight, but what does it actually, it's impossible Andre Ward has been retired for so long and out of the game for so long. I guess for me, I don't know what to make of it, especially if it's just a one-off. It's just sort of, okay, we did this thing. Great. I won. I still am great. To me, and this is unfair, a little unfair to be this negative, but it's kind of how I feel. It would just be like, man, so you could have been doing this all this long. You could have continued. You could have beaten Canelo for us. You could have had a run at cruiserweight. Maybe you could have been in there with Bivol and Beterbiev, and you could have, and maybe you really could have built a resume. And look, in what did he have? 28 fights?
I think it's 32-0.
All right, 32, whatever. So in like the wins on that resume are outstanding, incredible. That Super Six, especially if you look at the super middleweight division that Canelo unified versus the super middleweights that Andre Ward beat, it ain't even close. It does not even compare. Like any one of the guys that Ward was beating back then would have beaten all those guys that Canelo beat. And that's my opinion. Obviously, that's not you can't prove it, but that is my belief. In any case, incredible resume. But if he stuck around, and you're telling me he could have done all this other stuff and he's still this good, but he decided not to because what? Because Jim Lampley was in his ear, or someone was telling him, "Hey, Andre, it's cooler if you just call fights for ESPN." Or HBO or whoever a broadcaster and talk about your greatness. No, what would have been cooler is if you finished your career like an athlete. I don't know.
All right, Nikki wants him to go.
How do I get taller here?
Hurt Jake Paul instead, but I don't want that shit. Would you have reacted differently if he came out and said, "Hey, Carl Froch, we both still got a little bit left. Let's go to Wembley and try to get 81K"? No, right? Okay.
I mean, I would be into it because it's funny,
right?
But it's not actually that ambitious. Like it's a guy that I think he has Froch. He could beat Froch again if he needed to.
Is there any part of you that believes? Because look, Ward's got to believe in himself to a cocky level, to a conceited level. To be great, you kind of have to. Is there any part of you believes that whether or not he gets the AJ fight, he is soft launching an actual comeback and maybe does want to fight the likes of old Beterbiev and older Bivol and Benavidez?
Look, if he wants to actually do that would be incredible. That would be that would be George Foreman levels of coming back in your 40s and fighting the very best in the sport, not even just the very best in a certain weight class. And so it doesn't make any sense though, as to start at heavyweight and then roll back to
very true.
To light heavyweight and cruiserweight and bridgerweight. I mean, he's making it tough on himself if he decides to do that. I would be impressed if he could do all that though.
Then let me ask you this: is part of his mind thinking, because obviously the only reason why this would ever make sense with the danger, is that Ward would have a speed advantage. He would have a skill and technique advantage, So is there part of Ward that's thinking, look, if I come back and really look like I'm reinvented, not like I'm an old guy who still had a little bit, but I'm reinvented, maybe I fight Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship in a stadium. And hey, if I lose, I lose. But maybe is that part of his mindset?
That has to be in his head a little bit because it's the logical progression. Like, yes, everybody likes to say, "Oh, I'll just come back for one." But if he comes back and defeats AJ, who has been competing against the best heavyweights in the world until pretty recently, if he comes back and beats him and looks convincing doing it, whether he thought he was going to just walk away into the sunset after that, there's going to be people coming to him and say, "Hey, Dre, what do you think about this other fight? Because it would be pretty cool to see you pull this off now." And yes, and it would also, if you're talking about adding something truly insane and completely unthinkable sort of to a resume of accomplishments. Doing that, like Nader just said, I think it is not crazy to suggest that Usyk would destroy a 41-year-old Andre Ward who hasn't fought in close to 8 years. And that's not, I don't mean that to diminish Andre Ward, who is a great fighter in his own right. I think you can look at their careers and make a really interesting parallel, calling Ward sort of the Usyk of his generation, where he had this incredible run in his own division, and then went up and challenged the very best of the next division and proved himself to be the class of that as well. Now he only did it against the one guy, but there's a similarity with the gold medals, with the way that they dominated and really a very high level competition at super middleweight and cruiserweight. You could say Ward was Usyk before Usyk in the 21st century. So it would be cool to see that happen. I don't think he would win, though.
I'm going to guess you don't fully buy in on my theory that it's the competitor in him that just wants to, that it's more about that. So let's say that isn't fully that. I do believe money would be part of it, but not the major push because of because of the way Ward carries himself. He doesn't seem to be led by money. He said that he made a ton of money from the Jay-Z Rock Nation deal. He took care of his money. It's well invested, blah, blah, blah. Then is there part of you, if you're more natural to be a Ward critic or hater, that says maybe Ward's unhappy ultimately with what he did left behind, meaning that he knows that he has the ability and has a career that you could say he's one of the all-time greats, first ballot Hall of Famer, but he doesn't get insane critical historic love compared to others in his era, like Manny, like Floyd, like Canelo. Do you think that is part of the motivation? Like, I thought I would get more love for what I accomplished, but now outside of me interviewing these guys, like, people aren't talking about my name. Do you think that's at least 40% of this?
Yes, absolutely. And I do think it is. So it is the competitor within him. I think on some level that AJ fight to Ward is the one that got away. There's probably, and Grant, look, it's a little, I don't know, not uncouth, but I don't know. It's kind of dumb to sit here and pretend like I know what motivates Andre Ward. I don't. But it's easy to imagine that he thinks, all right, this fight was right on the table for me. I saw how I was going to beat this guy. I knew I could do it. Then I went and saw guys who aren't even as special as heavyweights, like Andy Ruiz, beat this guy because I knew it was doable. And I let it get away. This is the one that got away. And I'm going to, and fuck it. I don't care anymore. I'm young enough. I can still do it. I'm going to go back and write, and sort of, and write and reclaim what should have been mine years ago. Now, I sympathize with that. I admire it in a lot of ways. And if he goes and does it, it'll be still a really impressive achievement at age 41. And so, I mean, some people will say it's even more impressive because you're coming off this layoff and it makes no sense anymore. And then you could just, it's almost, like at least in perception, roll out of bed and beat still a top 5, top 10 heavyweight in the world who, with the right matchup could easily have a belt again. That's AJ. I don't think it would be as impressive as if he had beaten AJ when AJ was undefeated in 2018 or whatever, but still it would be impressive. And I think he wants to get that back. I agree. But it's not going. You can't get those years back. Unfortunately, he made the decision he made, and look, I think in the long run, he probably was right. It's not. He probably did the right thing for Andre Ward's life going forward. Right? He didn't take all that extra damage. He didn't. His money was good from his boxing career. He continued getting paid well because he's a great broadcaster. He's really good at calling fights. I love hearing him. But because how do the great fighters, how do we distinguish between the great and the greatest and the greater and the greater and the greater and the greater? Longevity, being able to prove it against more and more opponents over time, even if that means taking a loss here and there. And Floyd managed to do both at the same time without losing ever, but he was pretty, he obviously, he did everything he could to make sure that the deck was stacked in his favor in the back half decade of his career, maybe the whole back decade of his career. Ward decided not to do that at the time. And I can see, it's easy to see the narratives in the moment back in the late 20 teens, what might have led to him making that decision, because of the football in the NFL and concussions and CTE and brain trauma, which is a real concern.
Sure.
It's sort of unfortunate that we're no longer concerned, or we're just sort of baked in. All right, whatever. We're not actually going to do anything. So let's get, who gives a fuck? But at the time, that was such a big narrative. And the idea of, just like Floyd had done, retiring undefeated at the top, pound for pound, #1, no one questions it, blah, 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 blah. Ward thought he was doing that and was going to get all the same credit that Floyd got, but he didn't. He did, as great as his run at 168 was, he didn't have the same career that Floyd was, both in the media and in the ring. And you're not going to get the same credit that Floyd gets, or that fighters that did end up losing a couple times, whether it's Canelo or Manny during the prime of his career. I mean, by now, how many losses does Manny have? Like 7 or something. He's got a lot.
Yeah.
But still, like these old school careers where people have 60 wins or 55 wins on their resume against Hall of Famers from all kinds
against
of
who?
Generation. No, not against who, against real dogs.
Dude, he probably watched the Manny do that to a younger, unskilled guy and was like, or maybe he was jealous over what Mario does outside the ring, or at least did one time.
He can't get it back now. I mean, no matter, unless he does something fucking, I don't know what you said, made some big Mario's joke. I completely.
All right. I got to cut you off here. Like, real quick to close this out, then we got to get into Moses here. I am on a time crunch. Steven says Prime Ward's strength in the clinch, dirty headbutts, and low blows. Well, this is true. Wouldn't work against the 6'6", 240 Anthony Josh.
I think that's a very fair take. That was the question at the time. But who knows? I mean, we said that about a lot of opponents of Andre Ward. Look, it's not going to work. This guy is he's got too much power. This guy's too dynamic on offense. Ward is not going to be able to just shut him down like that. And then we just saw him do it time after time after time. In the moment, I believed in his ability to do that to pretty much any fighter in the world. And the ultimate test of that, it seemed, would be taking on a fighter that big against where, what Steven said makes sense. Like, all of that shit should not work. Yeah, well, it clearly worked against that guy, the Crusher.
I brought out my Kovalev nesting doll to ask the final question on this topic to you from Community Service Band. I think Rafe is yet to recover from the fact that his boy Crusher didn't do ish in the second match, besides get punched in the balls at the end. But you have anything to say about that? Or should I continue to unearth?
Crusher's not my boy. Like, Crusher is not my boy. I just thought he won the Ward fight.
That is true. You thought that.
And I thought he won that 10th round clean. I cannot believe people who gave the 10th round of Ward Kovalev 1 to Ward. And if you would give him that 10th, then that's, it's a done deal. And also, he had distance in that. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never considered using Kovalev as a butt plug, but there you go. There you go. Fun stuff on there. Let's get to this weekend. Let's get to the fight that matters the most. It goes down in Riyadh Saturday afternoon, 12:45 p.m. Eastern, main card time, DAZN pay-per-view ish. Same week that Turkey's out on Twitter going, my brother Mark Shapiro, you're right. Pay-per-view needs to go. I've been saying that. Bro, you got a pay-per-view this Saturday that ain't anyway. Here's what it is. A 10-round heavyweight bout we need to see, because 20-year-old Moses Itauma, born in Slovakia, raised in the UK. I didn't want to believe Turkey spouting that this guy is ready to walk on water, but Rafe, you watch the tape, as limited as the competition is, with maybe former title challenger Mariusz Wach being the most difficult, and he got him out of there in less than 2 rounds, although Waka was over 40 at the time. But 12-0 with 10 KOs. Looks, as Adam Abramowitz would say, the best heavyweight prospect in 2 decades. Southpaw, quick feet, quick hands, combinations. Some people call him the Manny Pacquiao of the heavyweight division. Power in both hands. Rafe, this man has never been past 6 rounds. 10 of his 12 pro fights never got out of round 2. But you know it. Turkey loves him, and if he beats 37-year-old Dillian Whyte on Saturday, he just might be fighting Usyk for the undisputed heavyweight championship. He turns 21 in December. He's a 12-1 betting favorite. Is it too much too soon for Moses Itauma on Saturday?
I think that depends on Dillian Whyte. I think there are a lot of heavyweights in and around the top 10 who I think I would say are too much too soon right now, because, or it would be a huge risk, right? It's not too much too soon if Moses Itauma is exactly who he has looked like or looked like he could be up until this point in time. And if he is ready to fight on that level, if all that is true, and it looks, I mean, he's as good a bet as you see in the heavyweight division as for someone who could do that. If all that is true, then it's not too much too soon. Then it's right on time. He's going to run right through this guy and go on to be the next great heavyweight. But it doesn't always work out that way. Remember our boy Pricey? I mean, people were calling him an outstanding. Yeah. David Price, you plumber. I'm going to do you, mate. Yeah.
We got to get all those old
Tyson. We're on TV. We're on the BBC,
yeah.
Tyson. You and your gay lover.
Yeah.
Tony Bellew. Anyway, young Tyson Fury with the twisted hat. I mean, it was so good. So good. Skinny face Tyson. Anyway, but David Price was a huge prospect as a heavyweight coming out of the UK. And look, he was slower, more plodding, there was less to get excited about, but still, you could see, especially in that time when it was still the Klitschko era, like, this guy's got everything you need to be a long reigning heavyweight champ. What happened? Equilibrium shot. Tony Thompson goes home, breaks his wife's hip. Let's run it back. All right. Plus, he was on the juice. So Moses Itauma, he has the look of all, like, everything looks right with him. But yes, thank you, Nando. The gigantic David Price suit is one of my favorite all time. You big stiff idiot, David Price. By the way, Price, he kept coming back. Remember what he said? What's his name that's about to fight Makhmudov to hell? David Allen? He said David Allen to hell, almost ended his career. That big Liverpudlian. One of the all-time great Scousers. Fuck the Beatles. But anyway, man, sorry for the David Price tangent. On Moses Itauma. Yeah, I did too. Like Larry Merchant would say, I loved it. What did he say to Marlon Starling or whoever? Remember that the famous one? Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It was Eric Morales. Shit.
It was Eric Morales.
Yeah.
Where through the translator, Morales said, "Do you like it?" Because he asked him, "Why the hell would you turn southpaw in round 12 against Manny?" And his response was, "Did you like it?" Yeah, I thought so. Yes.
I loved it, Eric.
I love that fucking shit, Robert. Yeah, let's go.
Anyway, man, sorry, another dumb tangent from me. But Moses Itauma, like, it all looks the part. It's pretty risky. It's ambitious, there are, because the fighters he's beaten at heavyweight, the progression does not quite make sense. Like, this is not the next step. Dillian Whyte, even at age 37, even looking doughy as fuck in most of his recent appearances in the ring.
Yeah, but
not now.
Look at Chinchilla. Yeah. He got that foot back on the gas pedal. Yeah.
Right. So Dillian Whyte looking doughy as fuck in recent fights, looking older. All of those things. He like, it's still biting off more than you would expect for the next step. He should be fighting somebody like the guy the guys that Dillian Whyte has fought in his last 3 appearances, the Jermaine Franklin, a Christian Hammer, a guy who we recognize the name. We've seen them lose in the middle rounds to a lot of good fighters. Emmanuel Tete.
Ebenezer.
Ebenezer.
You got beat by a man with tetes. Yeah.
I'm more a fan of his brother, Emmanuel. Half Pacquiao, half Tete.
Who was the other guy, Tete, that sung us the lullaby song?
Oh, no, that was Zolani Tete. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Zolani Tete. Thank you.
That's the lullaby song. Oh, man, one of the best. Anyway,
all right, let me ask you, though.
That's who he should be fighting next, not necessarily Dillian Whyte. And it could be trouble, because Dillian Whyte looks like he is at least taking this seriously, and he's not that old. He's only really been beaten by excellent fighters who have caught him with great shots. And
all uppercuts, by the way.
Itauma is capable of doing that. We know it. But it ain't a sure thing.
I mean, I talked to Itauma. That interview is on this channel if you want to check it out. And he's just a mature, young dude. I mean, I was
very
impressed.
Impressive.
he says that it's not just the 3 KO losses. He says all the knockdowns for Whyte have come via uppercut. He says he hasn't planned to necessarily lean on that because he thinks Whyte is expecting it. But Whyte is 37. We're not going to care about that because it's heavyweight. 31-3 with 21 KOs, 6'4". It's got size, experience, and power. You mentioned the 3 defeats, all against current, former, or future heavyweight champions. It was Anthony Joshua in 2015 in their slugfest, which was a rematch of their amateur rivalry between each other. In 2020, he got sent to hell by Povetkin in one of the most brutal, out of nowhere KOs in round 5. Of course, to his credit, he would avenge that in the rematch in Gibraltar with a 4th round TKO. One fight later at Wembley Stadium, he got sent to hell not just by an uppercut by Tyson Fury in round 6, but a 2-handed shove that the ref was like, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But 3 straight wins, 2 stoppages in a row. Are you worried about the never been past 6 part? Because all the publications are saying this is a 12-round fight, but Itauma told me it's a 10-round fight. I'm not sure who's right. I keep saying 10-rounder. What does he look like late in this fight, or do we not even get there, Rafe?
Well, I think the people who are looking at Itauma as the next great heavyweight champion probably think that it isn't going to go that far. I mean, isn't the over under 4.5 rounds on this fight? With Itauma being that big of a favorite, like everyone seems to believe that Itauma is going to knock out Dillian Whyte the same way he's knocked out the other opponents. I think the big question that I think this fight is going to answer for us, which is going to be how elite, how next level is Moses Itauma's power. Because the way that he has beat, like I rewatched like 5-6 Itauma knockouts this morning. He hits these guys, like the first headshot he lands on most of these guys, they go down, they're hurt, and he stops them 30 seconds later.
Yep.
So if that, but these are guys who are not particularly proven. I mean, it is impressive to get through Wach in 2 rounds.
Wach had cornrows in that fight, by the way.
That should be on that. And titties, cornrows and titties. My favorite kind of lady.
We call them moobs, respectively. Okay.
But no, I mean, even so, Wach. I mean, I looked at his knockout losses. He usually, like, the earliest he'd been out a few fights ago was 6. He usually gets stopped on his feet. He doesn't he gets stopped late, if ever. So look, that's impressive. But also, this is a guy who's at the end, the very end. Yes. He's like Itauma. Yeah, I guess the power looks very impressive. If it can shake up Dillian Whyte on the same level, on the same way that it has his previous opponents, then we're looking at a real problem for the heavyweight division. Because that power carries to that level. That's serious. The
same equation is true in my eyes. Even though we don't know the true answers about chin and gas tank for Itauma, or if he can, adjust to a game plan if he's losing, we don't know that. But he throws the kind of quick, powerful shots you don't see coming, uppercuts, quick combinations that very few in the elite level of heavyweight actually do. And when you marry that with the fact that even though Whyte has only lost to elites, he's there to be hit. It's a true fact. So you're right. This shaky legs early where he'll have an opportunity to jump in after a knockdown or after staggering him to get it done. I just feel like I feel something, man. I sense something. I sense that it is for real. Not for real that he's one fight away from being undisputed champion. I mean, I think there's still a legitimate argument to make of why you shouldn't put him in this early against Usyk, but Turkey don't think like that. Turkey got the sandbox, they got the action figures set up, and they're going to move on and they're going to fight. And, I asked Itauma about that. Isn't Parker more deserving? And he's like, Parker and Caballel are more deserving. But he goes, it's not, the old line of it's
deserve ain't got nothing to do with it.
It's what you negotiate. And he goes, I'm going to be ready to negotiate if I knock out Dillian Whyte. I mean, obviously so, rightfully so. Do you think he has look, if he's going to be in an undisputed heavyweight championship fight, a day after turning 21, he's got major star potential. Like, how big of a star do you think he could be?
I mean, a heavyweight knockout artist who has the talent and boxing ability and composure and all of the things that he's shown so far in his career. If that scales up to an elite level, and then he ends up, whether or not he ever gets to fight Usyk, but if he sticks around and ends up being the next dominant heavyweight of an era, I mean, that's generally speaking the most the most popular and famous fighter in the sport. I think you could make that argument that it has been for AJ and Fury when they were that guy or seen as potentially that guy. Canelo would have been the only other fighter you would have thrown on that level. Usyk, because he's Ukrainian and is harder to sell in the English speaking world, I think that ceiling isn't quite there for him in terms of fame. Yeah. But Itauma, it's right there. Yeah. I mean, he would be AJ level famous, I think. And clearly the next person to be the face of the face of boxing. So yeah, it's that ceiling, there is no ceiling.
That is whether he's ready or not. Usyk has already shown that, like we just did against Dubois, that he's become a hero in England. He's the type of guy that could fill a stadium on his own. Imagine if we do 96,000 at Wembley, Usyk versus Itauma, but Itauma has the UK population behind him going sick, like he's the new Prince Nassim or Ricky Hatton, like that level of, we've got something huge here. Dude, that's a scene. That's an event. That's a damn near Netflix fight, right? Like that's a monster thing, right? Like
brother, that's appropriate to say the least.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go with Itauma 9th round TKO on the second knockdown. So if that happened, he would have to show some savvy to get around the veteran skills. I mean, obviously, look, White's best chance in my mind is to make it a dirty fight, get in the clinch. He's a very good clinch fighter, lean on him, all that stuff you would expect a veteran to do. But the footwork of Itauma is so good, dude. Oh. So I'm going to take the young kid. I think it's going to happen. Where are you leaning?
Look, the thing that's what you mentioned, the thing that kind of amazes me about Itauma is when I first saw him fight, so the way that he has this sort of stocky build, I looked at him, I was like, this guy looks small. This is a little guy. No, yeah, he looks good because he's quick. He's quicker than these big guys he's fighting. That's not that different. Little guys are usually quicker than big guys. Then I looked at BoxRec. He's 6'4.5" on paper. And I was like, that's got to be a lie. That's got to be some bullshit. And I looked at him standing next to Dillian Whyte. He's taller than Dillian Whyte. He's not small. He's just fast like he's small. So
I think Evan Corn's small, but in reality, it does change.
Exactly. Broner, not small. He's not little. So that side of it was sort of blew my mind a little bit, because just looking at him, for something about him, here's a little guy who is working against these, kind of crappy big men. But when you have to go fight a real, a 6'8", 6'9", 6'7" heavyweight who knows how to handle himself, maybe that's another, but he's not a little guy anyway. So that really impressed me. What do I think is going to happen? Look, I think it goes one of two ways. Itauma either shows out, either because he is that great, or Whyte, despite having a good camp and giving it his best shot, is actually washed at 37 because he's been inactive and for all of the reasons and he's just gotten old and long in the tooth and doesn't have it anymore. And Itauma has the great early knockout that people are predicting. Or Whyte shows up. If Dillian Whyte is the Dillian Whyte who was, Deontay Wilder's mandatory contender in the WBC for the championship for 3 years, the guy who was beating everyone, who was clearly the number 2 or 3 heavyweight in the division, Dillian Whyte, if getting in shape brings him back into that sort of neighborhood, because let's say he's older, he's not going to be that guy exactly, but let's say he's back in that neighborhood. If that happens, he should be in this fight to the end. This should be a hard fight for Itauma. And I think it goes one of two ways. It's either that quick knockout or they go all 10. Itauma really gets tested. It's close, probably debatable. And I would favor Itauma just because he's supposed to win this on the cards if it goes that far. But and I have a hard time choosing. It's easy to choose Itauma as the winner because there are just so many reasons to expect that. But if I also as a bettor with those odds for an underdog, a guy who seems to be in shape and has things that can do things like if he is a decent version of himself, Dillian Whyte can win fights. Pharmaceutical finishes do happen in the sport of boxing.
Pharmacy remains undefeated. I'm really excited about it. I'm super, super excited about it. Let's go. Let's see what we got here in this young kid. And this ain't Coda, as Jaime Aguilar just told us. Speaking of Coda, okay, I'm ready to come around. I'm ready to aggressively add sound drops to this show and do the work that it takes. How do we do it? Because I need you to get me This Ain't Coda. I need you to get me No Panache. I need you to get me, well, I thought Triple G was getting in that ass. Like, I mean, I'm talking about the hits. We need to start playing the hits again like we always used to. You know what I'm talking about.
I beat Polly. I left with his belt and his girl.
All right. All right.
You don't be getting, you don't talk about my side piece.
Yes. So let's do it. You say you got the emails saved because this iPad ain't walking through that door.
You don't have Gmail anymore, Brian? What is wrong?
I got Gmail.
How to use the search function in that shit?
You're right. I should look at the history of my Gmail.
I'm happy to do that for you, but
all right, let me
that's
start off
how you do it. That's the secret sauce here.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, quickly on this undercard. Co-main event. Nick Ball going to defend, that pocket rocket. Nick Ball going to defend that WBA featherweight title against Sam Goodman. Is that an Aussie?
I believe so. Yes. He's
you care?
One of those blokes. Yeah, I care, man. Nick Ball is fun, man. I love that little motherfucker. He fights hard. That guy fights hard. He's I mean, he's one of these guys that could only be an athlete in a sport like boxing. If it wasn't for boxing, he'd be a jockey or something.
Wow.
He's like a 5'1", 130-pound fighter. It's fun as hell to watch it. He's like these weird body types that just work for some reason. Kind of like when Avtandil Kurtsidze was a contender at middleweight and junior middleweight, despite being like 5'3". I like Mike Tyson.
I love Mike Tyson.
I'm into it. I'm in Nick Ball. Also, I gotta say, Nick Ball might be number one scariest boxer in the world to me. Like the boxer I would least want to piss on. Yes, his little ass is to be that little and that good of a fighter.
Okay.
He wants to fight everyone.
He does.
For any reason.
Yeah.
He hates the world, man. And I don't want to be in between him and whatever he wants. Tall guys do not want to deal with little motherfuckers. It's the worst thing in the world.
Is that why you let Ricky Lopez talk to your girl at the Danny Swift post party that time?
Man, I am just secure, man. I know that Ricky Lopez ain't taking my belt or my girl at the end of that night. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Dude, I gotta find that. You already know I'm the best. Hey, what about Philip Ergovich coming back here at heavyweight, 10 rounds against David Adelaide? Nah.
Yeah, look, yes, I care. These are all like
Raymond Ford
fights.
Junior lightweight bout against Abraham Nova with the beard, man. I love that guy, Abraham Nova.
Why does everyone love Abraham Nova?
Because of the beard. I also called the Team Combat League fight with him once.
Is he a Bernie Barmazel? Is it because of the burn dog?
No. I like the look. I'm into it. All right.
Okay. Yeah, I do like the Abraham Lincoln, whatever. But still, he's like, I've gotten so many press releases off of that guy, and he was never good, man. He never won any meaningful fights.
Okay. To continue down the do you care route, let's bring in our resident Connecticut boxing expert, Hank Williams IV. BC, Hartford's best active fighter, William Foster III, the Showbox alum, returns on Pro Box tonight against a tough Uzbek fighter. Foster is a younger bro, a former 175 contender, Charles Foster. All those are true facts. Rafe, to find out whether you care, let me tell you the business of it.
Relax. Hartford's best active fighter is my guy, Richie.
Yeah,
Popeye Rivera not active anymore?
Well, barely. I mean, he did make, he did get that big payday.
Is he ranked at light heavyweight near the top 10 right now?
No. Plant City, Florida tonight, Pro Box TV. The tough Uzbek is Muhammad Kuja Yakubov versus William Foster III. We got Starling Castillo in the co-main against Shenard Bunch. Both are Showbox. I mean, really Pro Box is the new show box in so many ways. Gary Antonio Russell of PBC fame and the Russell family fame will have a 6-8 rounder against Dervin Rodriguez. Are you in with Paul
not Delvin?
Not Delvin Rodriguez.
Oh, because I'd be in on Delvin. Also, can we get a George Tadua Nipa fight? I love the Comanche boy.
Yeah, please.
No,
Comanche
I'm out.
boy,
I don't care.
Comanche
No
boy
box to pro box.
No box to pro box. Yes, Lazy Bed. We're gonna get these memberships going. Mikey and I are figuring it out. I say that every time. Coming soon to a BCX near you. Also, Rafa, let's talk about Friday's UFC Fight Pass card from Santa Ynez, California. Omar Trinidad, Lorenzo Parra in a featherweight main event. But don't forget about this WBO Women's Junior Bantam co-main bantamweight, Mizuki Haruta versus Naomi Gomez. Will you be watching?
Hell no, man. I don't care.
All right, you don't care. Also on Saturday, ESPN Plus, RG Cortez versus Byron Rodriguez in Mexico City. 10 or 12 rounds, your choice, junior bantamweights.
Who? What? I don't know.
Okay. You know what I mean? I didn't realize ESPN was still going to give us that stuff. Okay. I thought DAZN was going to hit us between the eyes with matchups. That's the weekend. That's the care level. Rafe loves women and boxing, as we like to say, just not at the same time. Rafe, this was a microwave version of our normal show, but I think we hit the high notes. Thank you for joining. Thank you for playing. What's new? What's new in your life? Anything?
Oh, hanging out, enjoying the southeastern Michigan summer, trying to no, I don't know, nothing's new, man.
All right, I looked you up.
Trying to walk these dogs.
You're not in the thumb per se, because the thumb's like way higher than the mitten. You're like in the armpit of the hand, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Good job. You're learning.
Do you go to Windsor ever across the border?
I've been, yeah. I don't go for the casinos and the strip clubs like people used to, but no, there's good. It's good Filipino food over there. Also,
we need a liquid crack update from Nikki V. What's new in your addiction?
Well, I have not tried the Fago's new. Oh no, I'm sorry, Werner's new Boston Cooler flavor, which is all the Boston Cooler is a Northern Michigan soda. I forget.
Boston Cooler, is that a brand or a flavor?
No, a flavor. I forget.
What does it taste like, yo? Like sarsaparilla on that ass? Or
no.
What?
So Werner is usually Boston Cooler. Let's go. Let's get this. Classic Michigan beverage, specifically a Detroit. I thought it was more northern, consisting of creamy vanilla ice cream blended with Werner's ginger ale. So it's just a ginger ale float with Werner's. Do you know Werner's?
That's a ginger on ginger crime right there. I don't know Werner's, but I'd love to learn.
It's a different kind of ginger
soda.
ale. It's
like weird.
It's a weird. It's ginger ale, but it's not like a real ginger ale, like a Canada Dry or a Seagram's. Okay. Shit will fuck you up. And so this is their version of that without real ice cream, just with some ice cream flavor.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm not drinking that. I'm drinking my standard liquid crack, man. I drink when I want to
like
treat
cola
myself.
Flavored.
When I drink,
man, that shit's so whack and played out. Get into grape or some shit, like cherry.
Oh, I do love grape Diet Fago. Oh, so good.
Hey, isn't it the 25th anniversary of the gathering of the Juggalos? You going?
No, I was never a big ICP fan, but I am curious about the gathering. I think it's a little too intense for me. I don't think I can hang out there with those boys for that long.
All right, we'll get into more next week. We got to talk about that Canelo Crawford undercard, Lester the Molester against Mabili, Callum Walsh against one of the Vargases. A lot to get into. We'll also recap what
a fight in September.
I mean, maybe, or maybe we'll just talk Moses. Okay. Yeah. All right. Maybe we'll just wear sideways hats and recreate Rafe's 90s bedroom with all that underground rap.
I never wore sideways hats, man. I know.
All right. Follow this man at Rafe Bugs and buy his damn books. All right. You want to read a heartfelt story about life and growing up in a historic bar? Then McSorley and Me, 2 and 2, My Dad and You is a great read. Along with Love and Basketball, the Jackie McMullen story. Hey, that's it. I got to go. Thank you, Rafe. Thank you to everyone out there. Let's leave you with this gift to close. Peace. We were here. Thank you.